This here is a case for Xcelite tools, and this is the way I have mine currently. Um, I just thought I would do some videos on Xcelite tools since when I do a search on YouTube, there seems to be absolutely nothing about these great tools, and I thought maybe the world could use some videos. This is, I believe, a TC150 case, and it is the smaller version of one that you may see on eBay a lot. That the one on eBay, usually it has two wings that fold out right here and here, and it'll have a whole bunch of stuff here, and then along the back, and then it'll have nut drivers down here. Anyway, what I'll do is just kind of go by real quick here. Most of this is original. That's inside of here, but some of it's been altered. You know, like this isn't original. The pliers under there aren't. Anything that's orange pliers, handles is really original. And of course, you know, Klein isn't original. But anyway, you know, this is an interesting tool. It's pliers. I don't use it, but it's interesting. But you know, I figured that someday I may use it. It's just got a really long reach, and it's a really fine tool. I mean, really good craftsmanship, made in the USA. These jaws are very, very straight and lined up, and very true. This is a 55 CG, and it is common in a lot of the toolkit cases. All of these up here are hex tools, and I have several standard, they're hollow shafted nut drivers. And of course, you know, I have the usual bladed screwdriver tips, Phillips tip, and small Phillips tip. And then I have this little guy. That's a 00 tip, Phillips. Like I said, this isn't really original. This came in it. They have a place to put a tape measure. So I've got, like, you know, it's extra screwdrivers. I have extra pliers crammed in here, one on top of the other. Specialty pliers right here. Here, this is a Lindstrom. That's designed to snip right on the surface of, like, the circuit board. You just put it down, and it snips right on the end. And these are very good wire cutters. If you get a good pair that I find I use these things all the time to strip wires. And I call it a wire cutter, but it's a wire stripper. It strips the insulation off very well off of wire. This, I don't even really use this. They say this is an electrician's knife. It doesn't lock per se. You know, I can't get this one to lock, but this one will lock. It's got a blade right there, and I believe this was designed for stripping wire. And it had a screwdriver tip, and I believe in World War II this was a very common electrician's knife. And it's got a lock right in there. Anyway, that was part of it. As part of my toolkit, I also have underneath a voltmeter and extra nut driver sets. And I'm going to go over these sets a little by a section at a time, basically. This was inside the set when I bought it, and I never got rid of it. Anyway, I got more more sets stuck inside of here. Got an Uglies reference book, and I've got even more of these kind down inside here. Got an extra handle, and like I say, I'm just gonna kind of cover this back up, and you'll just have to do a little research to see what exactly is included in a complete tool set. You can even download some PDF files of catalogs for the tool sets, so you know what's going to be in the tool set and what wouldn't be. And most of the tools that this came with are in here, and then some. These are Xcelite mini kits, I guess you would call these. These are small modular type of kits of sets of tools that you can buy, and I'm going to try and cover them over in this video here. But anyway, we have a ratchet that's offset. It's a miniature ratchet for small bits. We've got these little mini screwdrivers. We got a couple hex sets like Allen wrenches, standard and metric behind it. I actually have two of these sets, and I'll explain later, but these are the PS120 nut driver set, very common, very cool. And this is a like the nut driver set I have in the shown in another video, but these are all metric. And you can see it's a different type of case, and I can kind of show you what each case is like through the generations. This is a metric mini nut set, so it's basically the complement of these. And then I have a mini screwdriver set right here. I consider these micro, and these are mini. So where do we begin? Let's start with the thing that shows up on eBay the most. This set right here. But usually you're probably going to see these either in a set like in a case like this, or maybe a case like this. Now I tell you what, go over the cases real quick. This one's my favorite. And the reason why is it is a very flexible plastic. You can see there's a little handle that's up inside of there. And then the rest of these fit neatly inside of there. Okay. And the thing about this is it's darn near indestructible. I mean, if I had a hammer, you can see it doesn't crack it, it doesn't break. You can practically run over it and it'll be okay. Run over it with a car. If you do that with this, I don't think it's going to survive. This also has a hinge in it. Now granted, it does have a metal pin that goes down inside of that hinge, but I've seen these cracked, but I must admit it's a pretty tough acrylic type of case. But I'm just not a big fan of this because you open this up, and now you gotta fiddle around to getting it out of these little tracks inside of here. You know, it doesn't seem very friendly, and you know, look how much space it's taking up. Okay, so you take up that much space for that, but take a look at this set. That's the footprint for this, and that's the footprint for that. And if you try to set this up on end, you're just gonna, you know, you're just gonna end up knocking it over. This is a pain in the ass. This is really the better way to do things. Either this one, or like I said, this one my favorite. because, you know, this takes even less room than that. Now granted, I've got an extra part sitting over here, but you know, I can set over there and I can see what I need to get. The only problem with this one is I can't see the colors very well. You can see inside of there what you have, and you can see from the top. I suppose that's alright, but I like these cases the best, and if I ever can, I'll get them. And here's another set just like it, but this is probably an older set. So anyway, we'll come back to that set and why I brought it out. Close this up, close that up. Anyway, to come back to this is the PS 120 set, and it can come in various cases. And this is what they look like inside. This is an 11/32. This here is a 3/8. Now some of these are going to be marked, and then some of these may not be marked. See, this one just says P12. This one says P12 in the size. This is, I believe, an older generation, and this generation I think is one of the better ones. Now, I don't know if this camera can see this well, but when you look inside, you can see the shaft. Maybe I can get something that's a little clearer besides that one. This one right here. You can see the shaft go into the plastic there, and you can see it's pretty big and round. It's got a couple of splines going down there. Okay, this is a very good build in my opinion, and if you can get a set like these, go for it, because if you get a hold of the other set, which I'll show in a minute, it looks like what Xcelite did was, in the smaller ones they used just a little blade inside of there. Okay, so I don't know what's inside of that because it's black. I can't see through it. But here we go. On a 1/4 inch, they started using that spline and the big thick shaft. And these are hollow inside. So if you have a long thread and then you have to get around, it can do that. In fact, let me use another tool so you can see how far I can get that down there. I don't know. This one's the same way. It goes a little bit deeper. So anyway, very good set. This older set here. It's looks like it's got ribs along inside of it, and anything above a 1/4 inch is going to have that heavy-duty spline in there. Now, what you're probably going to see more common in the older versions is this one, and if you look carefully, you can see inside of there it has a whole bunch of ribs or splines, a whole bunch of them. Very good build. I like this. It goes down to, let's see here, that was the 1/4, that's the 7/32. Of course I can't see inside that one. They even did it with the down to that size, even down to this size. It's inside of there with some ribs. I just think it was a better design myself. And these sizes, they vary from 3/32 to 3/8, and they have a color code that's similar to the larger ones. And to compare, here's a 1/4 inch mini driver. This is a 1/4 inch full-size hollow shaft driver. Okay, so they both fit the same nut, but as you can see, this is for much bigger torque applications and it's much longer. But when you're using smaller, tighter areas, you can use this. And in a pinch, if you need more torque, that's what this is for. You slide that on there, and now you're more like this. And you can get a lot more torque into it. And then you can slide it back out. The newer boxes, like this, if you get a set of these in a new box like this, most likely you're going to end up with a spline inside of there like this. Now this one looks a little bit more heavy duty than others I've seen, but basically it's just flattened in and it show, you know, that's it. I don't know about the design of that. I guess it works, but I prefer, you know, this other version right here with the ribs all over it. I just think this is a better design than this. But like I say, you get one of those in those new clear cases, this is what you're going to have inside of there.